Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is One Piece, Water 7, volumes 43, 44, and 45, collected 3-in-1 by Viz Media. Thankfully, this one I think they printed pretty well. So anyway, we only got 3 more volumes to go, and we are done. So let's just jump right into it. So, volume 43, Legend of a Hero. So again, we're kind of in the middle of the fight right here between the Straw Hats and CP9. Got jump right into the action here with this first chapter where we have Rob, Lucci, and Luffy going at it. So Spandam has just called a buster call, which basically means everybody in the island's pretty much toast if they don't get moving. And we're also kind of dealing with the repercussions of the previous fights in this issue. So we have the continuation of Nami's fight with Khalifa, where she's kind of hitting her up with the pervert bubbles right here. So yeah, Oda always has these like peculiar fights where he would just kind of make up some of the weirdest freaking abilities and powers and somehow, some way make it entertaining, which is kind of his thing. One of the things I want to make you note here is just look at the distortion in the figures and the perspective here. Oda's one of his trademarks, and he does this a lot with the character Sanji. In general, all of the fights that he kind of draws, he always does these like intense distortions and intense perspective changes right here. So get into this chapter just goes over Nami versus Khalifa. So it's kind of interesting. This fight, even though it's like your typical cat fight, it kind of ends very anticlimactic. I've never been a huge fan of Nami's fights in the One Piece series. They always seem a little bit, I don't know, weak for me anyway. Not really interesting. In general, Nami's character is really good in the beginning, and then she kind of just becomes sort of a pun later on in the series. But anyhow, I'm going to jump through this really fast. She just thunderlances the chick right here. This is a typical Oda panel right here. He loves doing these exaggerated distortions in his panels right here. And we get to the other situation, which is Chopper, who is basically transformed into a into a super freaking Bigfoot abominable snowman. And he's breaking up the fight between Usopp, Zorro, and Kaku and Jabra over on the bottom, who have both transformed into monsters. They managed to save Chopper by tossing him into the sea. They also managed to unlock Zoro's cuffs right here, which allows him to fight uninterrupted. And then the next 2 chapters are basically the duel between Zoro and Kaku, as well as, I'm going to jump into this right here, as Zoro takes on Kaku, Jabra hunts down Usopp and Nami. It looks like all is lost for Usopp till Jabra gets his shit kicked out of him, because here comes Sanji. And Oda always kind of does this. You'll notice like a repetition in his arcs it not necessarily started here. I think the first series where it really started was actually, what the heck is it, Arlong Park, which is part of the East Blue, the early era of One Piece, where he always ends up setting it up where Luffy takes on the big boss, Zoro takes on the number 2, and Sanji takes on the number 3 character. And you get some really fun and interesting fights right here. This is typical shonen fare. Remember, the book is really aimed at young boys. It's really all about the the long, engaging, and intense fights between each other. Even though, to a degree, you kind of know the good guys are going to win, right? That's kind of one of the unfortunate aspects of One Piece, is you kind of know Luffy's going to win. That being said, there are many, many arcs where Luffy doesn't win and he does get his butt kicked and they have to kind of run away. So Oda kind of knows when to mess with the formula so it's not so repetitive. This is also the first appearance of Sanji's primary technique right here. I'm going to jump into it as he gets into the fight with Jabba right here. This wolf dude. And this is the beginning of the Diable Jambe, which is kind of his sort of super move. You know, Shonen Manga always has these super moves, kind of like the Kamehameha and all that other fun stuff right here. So he starts spinning really, really fast, and then his foot basically catches on fire, and he gets this high temperature super kick that beats the shit out of his enemies and whatnot. He actually still uses this to this day in the mainline series, even in the current Wano arc that's going on right now. His destructive force is demonic. Well, right now, as in like when I've been recording this video. You know, so he ends up knocking this guy out, getting the key away from him again. This going back to volume 42, it's all about trying to get the keys from the members of CP9 in order to unlock Nico Robin's cuffs. So he ends up tossing, knocking this guy out. We go back to Zorro, well, who is engaged in this intense duel with Kaku, this giraffe dude. There's always like a degree of seriousness and a degree of comedy in One Piece that just continues to make it hilarious. Like freaking shit like this. What the fuck? Freaking Oda. What the fuck, dude? And it's something important to note, right? Like, this is, you know, the most successful and highest selling comic book series by a single creator, right? Like One Piece is now, I think, is well north of 300 million copies sold. But it's it is one of the aspects that makes this such a popular and endearing series is not just the intense action and the fights and the adventure, but it's also the lightheartedness mixed in with intense emotional drama, right? There's both humor, you know, laughs, you know, tears, all that good stuff, right? All the range of emotions are laid bare in One Piece, and it's really, really powerful. So, anyhow, Zoro kind of gets tired of fighting this zoo animal, and after some laughs and some fights, he eventually gains his new ability, which is his demon aura, 9-sword style Asura, like the what is it, the Buddhist or is it the Hindu god? I think it's the Hindu god, right? Comes a demon and basically freaking super slashes this dude. And interesting thing about One Piece is the amount of time Zoro has cut people up and not actually killed him is really weird. It's a really weird aspect of One Piece. Just like, this guy has got like amazing sword skills and he cuts through everything, but he never actually kills any of the dudes he cuts. It's like, what the hell? Like, how is that possible? How is that possible? It's one of those peculiar things. You know, it's like they say like one of the biggest problems of American comics is that you realize no one ever really dies. They die and then they get brought back to life through some weird happenstance nonsensory, right? At the same time, like, manga has its own problems, and mainly is that people get absolutely just crushed or freaking like bones broken, slashed into pieces, headshot, and all this other stuff. And somehow, some way, they survive. What? Well, that's just kind of, you know, it's the shonen manga genre, right? If everyone got murdered in every issue, you know, there'd be no more characters left, and you'd be given the young boys who are reading this. This is really meant for like boys, you know, 12 to, you know, 14 or 15, right? That would be a pretty dark story, right? That would be something that you would probably publish in a different genre. So, in the last two chapters, and this is, I like this right here, where Zorro gives him the Donald Trump. And then this guy's like, they say assassins can never find other work. And he's like, there's always the Sioux. Zorro's always been like the funniest character in his own way in this series. I like how freaking deadpan he is with all these characters. So they run off, and everybody's basically chasing after Robin, trying to save her. We get back to the fight with Luffy and Rob Lucci, and Franky arrives, and he tries to sneak past Rob and gets the shit whacked out of him. And it's up to Luffy's Gear 2 to Gear, or as they translate it in the anime, Gear Second. You know, to basically power up and try to stall Rob as Franky goes off to save Robin. This ends up working for the most part. They kind of we get really long scene of Spandam basically congratulating himself for having captured Robin, patting himself on the back, and basically being a general piece of shit. And he gets sniped from freaking 1,000 yards by Usopp, who's way the hell over there, still pretending to be Sniper King. And then he ends up also getting, or I should say, Franky ends up catching up to him and stopping a hail of bullets and saving Robin. And the whole team basically makes it in time to save Robin. And that leads into the 44th volume, which is essentially the conclusion of the fighting in Enna's lobby and the escape of the Straw Hats right here. Whew, man, a lot going on here. You get your money's worth for this, by the way. Like freaking $14.99. Like, sheesh. Anyhow, what do I think about this volume? It's a lot of great fighting for the most part. If you're into manga fights, this volume is the shit. It's just a lot of really great fights. You get Sanji powering up, you get Zoro powering up, you get Luffy powering up. I mean, it's manga. What can I say? It's good shit. So I kind of like it in that regard. There are some parts where I get a little bit sort of like, man, this is dragging on. Like the Spandam section really drags on and on and on. And after a while, I'm like, man, Oda, you are really milking this for all it's worth, aren't you? This is, by the way, one of the longest arcs in One Piece. I think overall, as you guys have noticed, I've gone through 4 of these. So that's like, oh my God, it's like, I think it's like 10% of One Piece is technically the Water 7 story, which is amazing because One Piece is like 100 volumes at this point, right? Anyhow, art. So, I haven't drawn Zorro ever, so I decided to draw him. As you can tell, I'm running out of Copic markers. I don't have a lot of them left anymore. So I'm waiting. I actually finally have a refill set coming in, so hopefully I can start refilling some of my Copics and getting back to not caring about what colors I have to use. But yeah, here is Zorro. Now, so I have reflexively call him Zorro because I remember reading the first print editions of One Piece where they just used Zorro and they didn't care, right? Then later on they would change it to Zolo. And at this point, I actually honestly don't care which one it is. It's just Zorro to me. And this is the pre-time skip, right? So he still has both of his eyes. He's still wearing the old Haramaki. He doesn't really have his sort of half-top robe or kimono that he later dons, right? And again, Zorro is an interesting character. Again, this is the Santo Ryu, the 3-sword style that he always uses, which is utterly ridiculous, which is kind of what One Piece is, right? It's kind of to be exaggerated and overkill. I was also kind of messing with just sort of foreshortening and kind of showing off things at different angles. When I've been like messing with this, the whole, the object closer to you and the object in the background stuff. I wanted to see what it would look like. I also gave him a little bit of battle damage right here, kind of make it a little more dramatic than usual. Anyhow, yeah, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notification. If you got any comments on One Piece Volume 43 or my art, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.